Hi everyone, I'm Polly and this is Every Trick on the Hook. In this video, I am going to show you how to work into the center of a picot. So I'm going to use this example right here of the Lotus Moon Tiles design, which has picots that form the tip of all the petals in the flower. Now, in this design, we are instructed to work into the picot to pin the petal down. There's actually quite a few patterns of mine where I work into the center of a picot, and I wanted to take a moment to show you how to do that and also take a moment to show you what not to do. So this is Lotus Moon Tiles. There's a couple different methods I use for working into a picot, but I'm going to start by showing you the most standard way. When a pattern says to work into the center of a picot, this is what you do, okay? Here's your picot, and I recommend making a picot that is a chain 3 with a slip stitch to the back bump of the first chain. And the reason that I do that is because it not only do I like the shape of it, but it is, I think, easier to make, and it is much easier to work into if you need to work into the center of it later. It's much easier to use that type of picot. I have done a video on how to make that type of picot, and I will post it in the comments on this video. But this video focuses on working into the center of a picot, so let me show you how to do that. Here's our picot, and I kind of like to stretch it out just to get a look at it. You can see there's this one bar that goes across the bottom, and there's a lot going on in there. It's kind of hard to see, but you stretch it out a little. I've found that there is a natural center that you can kind of find, and you want to poke your hook right through that. It should go right through the middle. Now I'm going to take this out and show you again so you can see. The hook should go right through the center. Now what you don't want to do is you don't want to go just above this bottom loop where you'll only have one loop underneath your hook. That's not enough. Your picot is going to be lopsided when you work into it, and your work might come out kind of funny looking like that. You don't want that at all. Another thing you don't want to do is just grab one of the loops at the top. That is going to stretch your picot out, and it's not going to look right. You want to go right through the center, and you can tell that you've got it right. If you pull your hook down like this, there'll be two loops. Those two bottom loops, that is actually the back bump that you slip stitched into to make your picot. Your slip stitch is right here. These two loops are the back bump. So if you've got it right, you'll have two loops underneath, and you'll be able to see, working all the way around your hook, these chains of your picot will go all the way around. You won't have just one loop here and more over there. It'll be nice and even all the way around. That's how you know you've got it right. Now, a couple of my newer patterns, I instruct you to work into the bottom of the picot. This is something I just kind of made up, and in my pattern River, it's useful because I put, I think in River, I only tell you to work into the bottom loop of the picot, the one that I told you wasn't enough to work in the center. In River, I tell you to work just into that one because we use the top of the picot for something else later. In Lotus Moon, I tell you to work into the bottom of the picot, and this is sort of like the reverse of working into the center. So if we work into the center of a picot, like we want to make a single crochet into the top of the picot, we go in just like I showed you. In Lotus Moon, we're going to do this backwards. We're going to go in from behind and make sure that those two loops are underneath our picot, or are underneath our hook. The two loops on the bottom of the picot are underneath our hook. The chains go all the way around the hook, and we're going to hook those two loops, okay? And that's what we're going to make the single crochet around. So let me show you. Let me put my working yarn back on it, on my hook. I'm going to go in through the center of my picot. I'm going to make sure I have 2 loops underneath my hook. Those are what I'm going to hook to grab my yarn and pull it through and make my single crochet. Okay? And then I will show you what it looks like real quick. Then I get this stitch that just sort of grabs the bottom of the picot and the rest of it sticks up just like I want. Now let me take that out. I want to show you what it looks like to make a single crochet into the center of a picot from the front. Insert my hook and make a single crochet in the top of that picot. It's going to have a very different look, but it's a pretty popular technique among all different designers, and that is how you do it so that your picot stays even, not lopsided, and so that it's strong enough. You've got enough of the loops in there that you don't have a weak connection, it doesn't get stretched out. And that's all you need to know about working into the center of a picot, but definitely check out my video on how to make picots in the back bump of the first chain. That's going to help you make a really nice picot that makes this technique easier to do. All right, thanks for watching. Happy hooking.